Imagine a black woman in a sleek business suit stepping into the airport with confidence, only to be mocked by an agent for her accent. But what that smug agent didn't know, she owned the future of their entire airport chain. What happened? Next pulled $950 million in business away overnight and shook the industry to its core. Stay with this unbelievable story until the very end. It will leave you the mockery. It was a bright Monday morning at JFK International Airport, and passengers shuffled through security lines, scanning tickets and removing shoes. Amid the routine, Buzz, a woman in her late 30s, striking in a tailored navy blue pantsuit and red-bottomed heels, approached the first-class check-in counter. Her name was Dr. Amina Blake, a black CEO known in elite tech circles for her precision, silence, and billion-dollar decision-making. A Harvard graduate with dual doctorates in engineering and international economics, Amina had just finalized a contract for a global infrastructure upgrade for several international airports. She was on her way to Zurich for the final sign-off. But before she could even show her passport, the airline agent behind the counter glanced at her and smirked. "Ma'am, this line is for first class only," said the agent, a thin, sarcastic man named Craig with a crooked tie and a condescending air. Amina calmly handed over her boarding pass. "Yes, and I believe that's the one I'm booked in," she replied, her Nigerian-British accent dignified and composed. Craig blinked at her, scoffing audibly as he held her passport like it was contaminated. "Fancy accent," he said loudly. "Didn't know royalty flew commercial these days." Passengers in line chuckled. Amina's brows raised ever so slightly. "Is that supposed to be funny?" she asked. Craig shrugged. "Just saying, ma'am, you're kind of not what we expect in this line." The microaggression hung heavy in the air. Amina looked him straight in the eyes. "And you're not what I expect at a global transit hub," she said coolly. She knew better than to waste her breath. Instead, she silently reached into her Prada handbag, pulled out her second phone, one exclusively reserved for business emergencies, and sent a single emoji to her global coup. It was a silent trigger code they had agreed upon years ago. It meant, pull all partnerships, emergency board meeting in 6 hours. As Craig rudely waved her through security with a dismissive, "Whatever," Amina walked past, head high, calm like still water before a tsunami. But by the time she landed in Zurich, $950 million was already in motion. The unfolding power 6 hours after the airport incident. Boardrooms in New York, London, Dubai, and Johannesburg were in a frenzy. Phones buzzed, deals paused, and airport tech contractors scrambled to understand why one of the most stable contracts in aviation history was being abruptly dissolved. Blake Aeronautics and Infrastructure, also known as BAI, had partnered with 62 international airports to upgrade their AI surveillance systems, digital boarding infrastructure, and facial recognition security. But all of that came to a halt the moment Dr. Blake's emoji reached her executive team. The coup, an ex-Mi-6 tech strategist named Leah Carter, immediately activated contingency mode. By midnight, contracts had been terminated legally, ethically, and with cause due to racial discrimination during a corporate client's travel. Amina hadn't just pulled out of the JFK-linked airports. She'd restructured $950 million in funding into competitor terminals, ones that welcomed inclusive leadership. The agent, Craig, had no idea his offhand insult had cost his airline group an entire tier of international innovation, AI capabilities, and real-time analytics infrastructure. Meanwhile, Amina sat in a plush Zurich conference room, sipping mint tea. The head of the European Aviation Committee had just apologized for the gross mistreatment of a global executive at one of our allied ports. Amina wasn't interested in apologies, she was interested in systems. "This is what happens when behavior is unchecked," she said. "Systems rot from small prejudices. I don't need revenge. I need reform. Her words echoed through the marble walls like commandments. By the end of that week, 7 major airports had signed emergency, non-discrimination retraining contracts with BAI's new equity division. And a LinkedIn post from Amina went viral. If my accent bothers you more than your lack of respect, you'll lose more than just my business. You'll lose the future. The industry shakes news broke like wildfire. Major tech blogs, business channels, and international aviation bodies reported the overnight shift. Black CEO withdraws $950 million over microaggression, industry in panic, one headline read. CNN invited Amina for a primetime interview. She declined but sent a pre-recorded message. This wasn't personal. It was procedural. If you treat people with bias, you get biased outcomes. Within 72 hours, Craig was suspended, then terminated. But not for the reasons one might assume. His behavior had violated a clause in the airline's customer dignity compliance policy, something rarely enforced until now. A TikTok video from a passenger who witnessed the incident surfaced, gathering 45 million views. It showed Amina walking away, silent but composed, as Craig snickered at her back. This woman's silence just bankrupted our innovation budget. Someone commented. Others called her Queen Energy. Meanwhile, inside her New York headquarters, Amina directed her legal team to open a platform for other executives of color to report travel discrimination anonymously. If they can mock me at the height of my power, she said in an internal meeting, imagine what they're doing to young professionals with no network to fight back. That's when the twist came. An anonymous ex-employee from the same airline released internal documents. Dozens of complaints about Craig and others like him dismissed without consequence. That's when the story transformed from a personal tale into a movement. Aviation equity committees formed. BAI's new Silent Equity Network launched with $50 million in funding, with partners in Asia, Africa, and North America. Meanwhile, Craig appeared in a local interview sobbing, claiming he was misunderstood. But the world had moved on, and Amina? She was invited by the UN to speak on corporate dignity and infrastructure equity. When asked what she learned from the incident, she replied, "Power isn't just how loud you can speak. It's how far your silence echoes legacy in motion 2 months after the airport incident. JFK International Airport unveiled a new fast-track lane named after Amina Blake, not out of guilt, but recognition. The Dr. Amina Blake Expressway now featured plaques of notable black innovators in aviation and tech. The airline that employed Craig issued a formal global apology and agreed to partner with BAI for internal leadership training. Amina didn't smile much at the ribbon cutting. Instead, she simply stood there, wearing a crimson power suit and delivering one line to the press: "The future travels with integrity, or it doesn't travel with me at all." The young black girls watching her on the livestream had tears in their eyes. One little girl in Atlanta pointed at the screen and said, "She sounds just like my mom." That's when the full circle moment happened. Amina returned to Nigeria, for the first time in a decade, to build a tech training academy for girls who spoke like her, walked like her, and dreamed bigger than their borders. "Every accent tells a story," she told the first class. "Don't let anyone write yours for you." The twist? That academy would be funded not by governments, but by global companies afraid of losing the next Amina Blake. Airports scrambled to update their policies. New inclusivity audits were mandated, and the term Blake Protocol became standard lingo in aviation for immediate reviews triggered by discrimination complaints. Craig faded from the headlines, while Amina rose as a symbol not of vengeance, but evolution. Her silence had built empires. Her grace had restructured industries. And her voice, accent and all, had become the sound of power.